Something very interesting. An IRS whistleblower had something to say here. Check this out.
Received this email from your IRS supervisor after Hunter Biden's guilty plea. Thank you for your commitment to the mission, which culminated in a great conviction.
Those are words that are not supported by the actions of the agency.
What you're saying is that within the IRS, there is disparate treatment of American taxpayers.
What they call is sensitive investigations.
But sensitive investigation sounds like code for powerful elite people.
There's a list in the Internal Revenue Manual that says what a sensitive person is, and it's exactly that.
There was no question in your mind the big guy was Joe Biden.
We corroborated that the big guy was Joe Biden, yes.
We knew that the laptop was real. DOJ knew that the laptop was real.
FBI knew the laptop was real.
There were a lot of overt investigative steps that we were not allowed to take because we had an upcoming election.
When we were doing the interviews, the prosecutors specifically told us that they didn't want to ask about the big guy because they knew it was Joe Biden.
You came forward as whistleblowers. Your information was accurate, yet you're sitting here today with us alleging that you've been punished every step of the way by the government bureaucracy.
IRS has a smothering blanket on me, hoping that I quit, that they find some way to terminate me or commit suicide or something.
And I'm up against a machine that has millions of dollars, that has the ability to fight me.
People have to have confidence justice is going to be administered fairly, regardless of who you are.
Is Hunter Biden's guilty plea in the federal tax case vindication?
Yeah, I absolutely believe so. I mean, he pled straight up to what was in the indictment.
Just to see the risks that Joe and I took, to buck that bureaucracy, which is the IRS, and to go directly against Department of Justice and directly the White House, it was validation, it was vindication, and I wouldn't have changed anything.
This is the first joint interview with IRS whistleblowers Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler after Hunter Biden pleaded guilty in September to felony and misdemeanor tax charges. This internal IRS email, exclusively shared with our investigative team, shocked the whistleblowers.
When you received this email from your IRS supervisor after Hunter Biden's guilty plea, calling it a great conviction, what was your response?
I honestly couldn't believe that it happened. First person I called was Gary, and I'm like, can you believe that this was sent?
Those are words that are not supported by the actions of the agency.
Thank you for your commitment to the mission, which culminated in a great conviction. I almost see you rolling your eyes as I read this. Now you're shaking your head.
Yeah. This to me was someone who knows that IRS watchdog right now is looking into the way that they've handled this, and they see the writing on the wall. And this really is an example of just covering their backside, like a true bureaucracy.
Shapley and Ziegler walked us through hundreds of now public tax records. They zeroed in on alleged double standards at the IRS.
I recently had an internal attorney for IRS come to me and say that the way that the process is set up, it almost creates this preferential treatment for these elite and large companies because, when it was Hunter Biden, it required additional approvals for every single thing that we did. Meanwhile, the local businessman, I don't need any special permissions. I just go and do the investigation.
What you're saying is that within the IRS, there is disparate treatment of American taxpayers.
What they call is sensitive investigations.
But sensitive investigation sounds like code for powerful elite people.
There's a list in the Internal Revenue Manual that says what a sensitive person is, and it's exactly that. Politicians, CEOs of companies, high net worth individuals, and then it requires countless additional approvals to work that investigation.
The IRS whistleblowers went further, alleging a double standard for political campaigns under the Biden-Harris Justice Department.
I wanted to get your reaction to this recent filing by Special Counsel Jack Smith. It's 165 pages, allegations against former President Trump, who's also a presidential candidate. And this was made public just a month before the election.
Compared to what happened in our investigation, there were a lot of overt investigative steps that we were not allowed to take because we had an upcoming election. And it related to the president's son, so not even the candidate. And we weren't allowed to do certain investigative steps.
This filing by Jack Smith in the Trump case, would never have happened if the names were swapped and it was Hunter Biden.
Based on what we saw in the Hunter Biden case, that document would have never been released 4 weeks before an election.
So you're talking about a double standard in the Justice Department.
Department of Justice created a precedent as it relates to
Right. You can watch the rest of the video there, but look, this precedent, as it said here directly on the case here, the IRS whistleblower involved in Hunter Biden tax case reveals that the IRS, DOJ, and FBI knew the laptop was real, immediately claimed that prosecutors demanded that they not ask questions about Joe Biden ahead of the 2020 election, and there were a lot of overt investigative steps that were not allowed to take part because of an upcoming election. It's really interesting as we talk about this that, you know, the federal government, the FBI, the CIA, they work in lockstep to get Democrats elected. But why? What is the ultimate goal? Obviously, it's because Democrats aren't really running things. When Democrats are in power, it's a safeguard so that these three-letter committees, these three-letter organizations can keep their unelected bureaucrats running the government behind the scenes. You don't have to have an election. Obama can live forever with his kickbacks, selling power, selling influence, and in the end, you can put an idiot like Joe Biden in the front and no one can do anything about it. That being said, let me ask you a question. Do you think our country's going in the right direction, or does it feel like everything's falling apart? If you're feeling alarmed, you're not alone. In fact, Americans from all walks of life have taken action to prepare for whatever's coming next, and that starts with having an emergency food supply. Storing food in your home is the right thing to do because we're living in crazy times, which then explains why so many people are preparing. Right now, you can get ready too with a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. It comes with delicious foods like creamy stroganoff, honey wheat bread, and mushroom rice pilaf. The entire kit offers over 2,000 calories every day. This food kit lasts up to 25 years. Who knows what our country will look like then, but when that day comes, you'll be ready. Go to preparewithvnn.com now to order your 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. That's PREPAREWITH, VNN.com. That's preparewithvnn.com. Check it out today.